Hey guys, Shawn Ziem, the Connection Machine, aka the Insurance Doctor, and the podcast for Webtalk Legends. I am the host. We're here to provide some value. You're going to have a guest that I've known for years now that provides value, and you'll hear his story. And it's a variety of things from credit to finances to you name it. You're going to see an awesome conversation. Bear with us. On my side, we have a storm in New Jersey. It's affecting my quality as far as the internet. So if I am not sounding right, drop a comment. If I'm like a little blurry, give me a shout. Let me know what it is. I don't mind. I want to know if you can hear and hear us and see us. So I want to bring on my guest, Anthony Rosa. What's going on, my man?
What's going on, Shawn?
How are you?
I'm doing good. It's good to be here with you.
Now, we haven't done this in a little while, and I haven't seen you in a long time because of this crazy ass COVID. But we've been doing these for, many, many times. And before we even get into that, can you give us for those that are popping in, and just mind you, we have people all over the world. We have Australia here, we have New Zealand, we have the UK, I mean, there's people popping in right now, which keep it up, guys, wherever you're watching from. Who are you and what do you do, Anthony?
Yeah. Listen, Shawn, it's so refreshing just to see the consistency and the dedication that you pour into day in and day out. So, first I just want to say thank you just for setting the bar and setting the tone, because it allowed me to just come into my identity, sharing my story, being more vulnerable, taking more risks, and the reward speaks for itself.
You said a
So
lot.
yeah, it is, and I can say so much more about you, Shawn. I know this is supposed to be about me, but let's just face it. I love to give, respect when respect is due. For me, I grew up in what you would consider a low income home. I was born in New York. I moved to New Jersey in the early 90s. And, you know, as I was growing up, a lot of us, we sometimes don't know what we want to do, right? Let's just face it. And, I was lucky enough that my football coach connected me with St. Peter's University now, and that just kind of catapulted the mindset of anything is possible. I really didn't think I was going to continue my education, and I did. And that part of the story is so important because the name of my company is Fresh Start Advancement. I like to go by Mr. Remedy because I've just been through so much that I have so much insight and wisdom that I've learned from so many cool people like yourself, and I love to share it. And Fresh Start Advancement was really created in 2015. When I finished my undergrad in 2010, I knew that I wanted to be in professional services. I knew that I wanted to help people. I knew that I wanted to somewhat relate with people like myself where, you know, you may have fallen through the cracks. And when I went into banking in 2015, as you can imagine, I went through so many different career training programs and I fell in love with banking. But I wasn't a traditional banker. I felt like I was like Robin Hood. I was the banker. Yeah, it was. I was the banker where, you know, you had an overdraft fee for a check you deposited on a Friday, and you had some payments on Saturday and Sunday, and come Monday, you're in the negative. But you say, what? I just deposited a check over the weekend. I would butt heads with management, and I'm people over profit. I'm sorry, I'm not here to
Love
make the
that.
bank money. And I would fight to get overdraft fees returned and try to reverse monthly service fees because in the area that I was banking, my clients, were very broad. You know, I had low income households all the way up to small businesses in the 3 to 5 million. And I had to be able to have solutions and suggestions for everybody in between. And because of my story growing up in, you know, a low income home and, you know, being saved to be able to continue my education and, you know, going through these different management training programs, I was able to have a very good background. And so when I got to banking, I was really meeting people where they were. And I think that that's so important in today's banking. You know, I'm not discrediting bankers or tellers, but I think that the reality of it is we need to be more clear on how to bank better.
Mm.
And so many people don't know about balance transfers and personal loan consolidations. I have so many people that for $10,000, they're considering doing a bankruptcy, and it blows my mind. $10,000 seems like a lot of money, but if you do a budget plan and you live within your means and you set a plan, you can get yourself out of that rut and not have to file a bankruptcy. So, you know, 2015, it really changed my life. I was turning my hobbies into opportunity. I started to do credit repair as a finance coach, really for friends and family and my clients, but I wasn't charging them. It was really just to get my deals closed or give back or help others with the information that I was learning. It didn't dawn upon me until December of 2015 when I said, I think that if I look at this and I look at my budget, I might be able to do something here. I didn't really take it serious until 2017. 2018, I think you and I met late, you know, in the end of 2018.
Dunkin' Donuts, vanilla chai.
You know it. And, you know, from 2017 to 2019, I took it serious. And 2019, I fired my employer. And I left being a corporate business banker. I wasn't your traditional branch employee. You know, I was one of those people with the suit and briefcase, you know, just coming in. I'll sit in one of the offices and then I'll leave. And you always, who is that person? Yeah, I was that person, you know? And I just never, it fills me up, Shawn, so much. You know, I've had over 4,000 members in my program. By now, I've scrubbed over 100,000 credit reporting pages. You know, on average, I save Americans over $1 million a year from debt consolidation, debt negotiation, and every single time it fills me up just seeing the night and day change from when someone begins and ends with me. It's amazing.
Dude, I love having conversations with you because you go deep, you give information, you teach, you give value. And also let's talk about you have kids. And you
I
have
have,
how many kids you have
I
now?
have, I have four now.
Guys, everyone says, "Oh, I have kids. I can't do anything." I have my fourth on my way, my man. Finally got a boy
Yeah, you
coming.
got your boy coming.
But
Congrats.
you're able to do what you're doing and still have your business booming. You know, what are you doing right now? What's important to you as far as being a father and being that mentor for your kids, man? Because I know how powerful that is for me, and I can't wait to continue adding to my family. But how important is it to you?
You know, that's a loaded question. Uh, you know, first and foremost, I have to acknowledge and say thank you to my higher power. God is my higher power. And, you know, I think that just understanding uh, that there's power in prayer. Being a father and having a business and having a spouse and trying to manage the day to day is challenging, to say the least, but it's a good challenge. I enjoy the challenge. So my foundation would come from that. Uh, you know, for me growing up, I never had a real father figure. You know, my football coaches or friends' fathers were my male role model.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for me, I like to be hands-on. I like to be involved because I never had that male role model. And I really looked forward to the time that it was right to have children. I mean, there's no really right time, but but I was waiting for that moment because I wanted to kind of be that role model for them that I never had. And that's like the second biggest thing for me is like I want to be able to explain certain things and go deep and you know have these conversations with them that it's kind of like us as adults, right? Is like I wish I knew then what I knew now, and I have that opportunity through them.
That is what you know. What that is 100% correct. And a lot of people, and I appreciate you being vulnerable, talking about your your past, having your dad not being around. But yeah, taking time and being in the moment is huge. And now you can teach that and watch it. I love watching my kids. They're COVID kids. And we go out to the supermarket. They're like happy as a pig in shit. We're at ShopRite. And they're like, whoa, look at this. And they're saying hi to people. But it's beautiful to watch it go through their eyes and what they're experiencing. And you're molding your kids. And it's a powerful thing because there are many me's, many Anthony's that are going to be out there that they're going to start spitting out the same things that we're sharing because they hear it day in and day out. It's not like you making stuff up, man. You are the real deal.
Look, the third thing that I would say is I'm tired of being sick and tired. I talk about now that innocent bystander approach, right? Uh, I can go toe to toe with someone that says I don't have enough time. Let's compare calendars
Yeah.
and let's let's see who has less time. But that's not the point. The point is I can't allow modern education, schools, teachers to be my educators to my kids. And reality of it is it's so easy just to give them a phone and go play with Roblox so that I can follow
Yeah.
up with the email or make this phone call.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not perfect, but like I opened it up giving you the acknowledgement of just being consistent, persistent, dedicated to the process, and just taking it day by day, really. That would probably be my last one. As a father, I have to choose my battles,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, for me, emotionally, is like when kids are fighting or doing certain things, it's really easy just to get amped up or react. But they're kids, and I
Yep.
have to remind myself to pick my battles, which is the right learning lesson, which is the right form of reprimanding them. And that's something, even as a business owner, sometimes if my clients don't do what they're supposed to do, I don't believe that clients are always right. I'm sorry. They're not. And if they're right, then I wouldn't be a coach. So it's a give and take relationship. And sometimes you have to be reprimanded or sometimes you have to be held accountable. And so I try to practice that with my clients that I do with my kids.
Love it, man. And there's a bunch of people making comments and keep them going wherever you're watching from. Drop comments. I know we had Rich from Silver and Gold Solutions. When you are able to help someone out, that in itself makes everybody's job, every job or career fulfilling when you're helping others. That's the key. That's the key. That's what it's all about. Webtalk Legends, we're all about helping others. And I like how you brought up that you played sports, football. What are some, and you mentioned the coach acting as a dad. What are some skills you learned during football that you actually are still using today? Because if kids today, the ones in high school that are playing, even in younger ones, they don't realize what they're going through when they have a coach yelling at them, but teaching them life skills. What are some skills that you learned that you took from that you're using still today?
Well, I come from the old school. We were doing 2 a days, sometimes three
Yeah,
a days in 100-day weather.
they don't do that
So
anymore. Yeah.
with our pads on, right? So I don't know. Maybe today's sports is getting a little soft, but
I agree.
man, wow. Shout out to, the late Vinny Ascoli. Shout out Coach Greg and Jamar. This is over 20 years ago, but these guys shaped and molded my life, you know. Um, I needed structure. I needed someone to kind of get in my face at that time to put me into the right mindset.
Right.
Um, so shout out to the coaches, man, because you're a coach too, and sometimes that over those extra hours, wow, it's tough. So now as an adult, and I completely understand the sacrifice that coaches do because of the love of giving back. So that is something that I acknowledge now, of pouring into others the same that others poured into me. So that's number one of what I learned, the give back. And and seeing, just relating to sports, to be in football, there's a lot of technique, and there's certain
Yeah.
things to be alert on, right? Being alert on formation, being alert on plays, being alert on the field. And if you're not alert, you could get hurt. Or if you're not alert, one of your buddies could get hurt, or you could hurt somebody else by accident. So I think that whole thing of pouring into others, the whole thing of being super alert. I played linebacker, and you know, I was the one that would take in the plays, and get into the huddle on defense. We would call the play, and I'm the loud one. Strong left, strong right. Like moving my linemen over. Uh, Calling run or pass, just being that communicator on the field.
Hmm.
And so that's my third one, is really communicating. And sometimes when you see the down and distance, if it's third and long, you can understand that they might not run the ball, they might throw the ball. So you have to have insight. You have to, what I use now in my world is forecast and project. I need to forecast what they're going to do on every down. I need to project where they are and what they might do at that time. And so I take some of that thought process. It's just that constantly thinking, that constantly next step. I'm observing. I'm observing my linemen. I'm observing if I see veins in their hands. They might be shooting out.
Yeah.
They might be cheating. They might have their hand up. It might be a pass. I'm looking for all the small little things that most people don't look at, because they're just looking at what's in front of you. But if you really start to pay attention to the details, you'll find holes, opportunities, weaknesses. And so that's the same thing that I do, especially on the credit report. When I receive a client, the first thing that I do, I don't talk about my price point. I don't talk about all my success stories, because this is a new game, a new quarter, a new play. And I can't tell you what's going to happen next. But if I watched enough video and I can see the history, then I would be able to forecast and project. So when I look at a credit report, the very first thing I do is I do an assessment. I look at the credit history. I ask you some generic questions so that I can get a better understanding, so that I could pinpoint the holes, I can pinpoint the areas of opportunity. And because I'm a coach and I've done this so many times, 9 times out of 10, I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. You may not, but I do, because I'm paying attention to those small little details that you might be overlooking. And those small little details can go from a fourth down to a first down, or from a field goal to a touchdown, or from a loss to a victory. A little play on words.
A
But you
lot of
get it.
plays. It's almost like you had this already. We don't have anything scripted, by the way. Those that are watching, nothing scripted. We've been having conversations. We listen. This is what people don't realize, how important listening is. Everyone's all about selling their product, their service. They don't listen. And that's a key thing, I think, with communication. And with Anthony, he's shoot straight. He's honest. He's upfront. He's a family man. How, when you got into business, you went to college, got into what you're doing now, what do they teach you? What were some things that they taught as far as marketing yourself? What are some important things you think for those that are out there? Because I know an important thing for me was getting in front of this camera. This was a very important thing for a lot of people. For me, I think I preach this all the time, but what's important for you as far as marketing, for building your brand?
So that's a two-part, right? So what did I learn in school
Yep.
to lead up, and what's important to me about branding? First thing is they don't directly teach you about marketing other than book marketing,
Yeah.
as I would say, right? There's not too many classes on network marketing, right? However, when I was an undergrad, I joined the business fraternity. My sophomore year, they canceled the football program. And for those that you can't see me sitting down, I'm 5'9", 225, stocky. I wasn't going to the NFL. So I was like, well, I'm an EOF student. I might as well stay. But I took advantage of that because I became class president. And for 3 years, I was an officer. And I think that was the first time that I started to experience personal branding. Because my junior and senior year, I had nobody that went against me. And it was more so of I threw good parties, I good through events, I'm in the quad, I'm speaking on the microphone. Mind you, when I never thought I would get into an officer, and this is going back in 2007, 2008. And the very first time I spoke on a microphone, I tapped on it and I said, hello. And you hear the echo. And I have like 200 people there watching me. I am so nervous. I'm sweating. I go, is this how my voice sounds on a microphone? I've never heard it before. And I start thinking out loud, and I was kind of panicking, but they started to laugh. I started to laugh. And then the linebacker in me started to come out. I started to just walk back and forth on the podium. I was just rocking the mic, and I just felt so comfortable. So I think that the first recommendation for those that are out there watching is stop overthinking.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing, right? The second thing is have fun with it. Just have fun. And that kind of just like, releases the tension. I'm not a good comedian, but maybe looking up some good genuine jokes or some icebreakers. I don't know.
You put on good comedy shows, by the way.
A little plug tomorrow, June 2nd, comedy show for the Rutherford Rotary, but who is asking? But yeah, so like in school, it was indirect learning. A lot of times my peers would just do what they do. And I would do my thing. And my thing was I was going to school full time. I was working full time. I was a class president and I was a full-time partier. I did it all. I had that balance. So fast forward now, I mean, obviously in the moment, I'm not thinking about branding. I'm not thinking about marketing. My mind at that time was somewhere else. As I was growing and developing, I started to realize, wow, I had so many different leadership roles. I didn't put two and two together. I was just doing things because I felt like I was on survival mode. I felt like I was doing those things because I needed to keep a full plate or a full schedule, because if I didn't, I would drift. I knew that. And I knew that if I drifted, I didn't have too much accountability at the time. So my biggest fear was that drift. So the next thing I would say is, aside of stop overthinking and have fun with it, is just be confident. The importance of confidence is acting as if you're supposed to be. And in marketing, when we're at a networking event, or when we met each other at Guaranteed Rates office, shout out to Jeff
Yep.
Greenberg, a couple of years ago, we were having this conversation and you were there going live on your phone, shouting people out. And I was like, these are things that I want to do, but I'm holding myself back. I'm overthinking it. I want to have fun with it, but I'm somewhat confident but timid. It was just a double dutch dance. So I think that the most important thing is, like, don't be too hard on yourself, and give yourself some credit as you're starting to think about, well, maybe I didn't have that many leadership roles. But you know what? I volunteered at this location and my role was this, and I did that, and I got acknowledged because I did that. Wow. And I was training other people to do what I did because they asked me to volunteer. That's a leader. Most people won't put two and two together. So I have to take it back to a couple examples from my undergrad years because, yes, I studied business management, but I really, it wasn't like that focal point of do a card exchange and do a follow-up email and, all those little basic things that in networking some of us do. But I find myself now going to events, networking, having a plan because my strategy of networking has completely changed. But when we're doing that follow up, I feel like people don't have that same mindset. It's like, that's just like networking 101, come with a purpose. And so,
Hmm.
leading on, unless you're really looking for it, unless you're watching videos, unless you're following coaches like Shawn, you will start to realize that you have more of a gift than you might think, but you just need a little push.
That motivation is a huge part. And I want to make it clear that having kids, being, have a significant other, that's the excuses people have. I can't do certain things. I can't go out networking. I can't get on in front of the camera and do video. Excuses, excuses, excuses. You make time. I always use Calendly as far as making my calls. When can I have a call with you? And I send them a link and they fill that out. That's a powerful thing because it's in my day because I'm a full-time teacher. I have my businesses. I coach. It's something that you have to continue doing to stay organized. I want to finish. Is there anything with any books? Are you a reader or are you more of a watching podcast? What is important to you as far as gaining more knowledge? Because I know you continue doing that.
Yeah, so that's a very good question. My weakness is reading books, and I just get lost in the sauce. I sometimes have to reread it. It's not that enjoyable, but that's an excuse. And that it could be just a learning disability that I never really got diagnosed for. So it's important to know how you learn, right? But for me, I love podcasts. I started to go back on a weight loss journey. Although I've been, with Beachbody 2 years, I haven't used it as much as I want to. But I started learning more about fasting. I started, so I'm just continued education on podcast, continued education on different YouTube videos. I love learning more on Google about neuro-linguistic programming. I'm focused right now on understanding psychology on business owners coming to boundaries and triggers and people pleasing. And so I love just watching, I love listening. I am in some books. The last book, that I was trying to finish. It was No Fucks Given,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really interesting, because I learned that I was codependent and people pleasing more than what I really thought I was. And just, yeah, so just I try to get it from all parameters. I don't have just one source. I want to improve my weaknesses and even just improve on my strengths as well. So I don't limit myself to what I could learn. I'm constantly looking everywhere to learn.
No matter what, getting out of college, moving on, getting older, you always have to learn and continue because it's a muscle. What we have up here is a muscle. So everyone's worried about working out with weights and eating right. You also have to feed your brain. So that's a powerful thing. I honestly have been doing more podcasts, video, books. I love to read books when I have the time. And that's, again, another excuse. Could always find time. I can get up a little earlier, which has been tough with little ones, but stay up a little bit later to read the books. And my goal is to at least 5 to 7 pages. Some people are involved with doing 10. Some people are a certain time. If I get 10 pages in a day, that's a huge thing for me. But we can talk for hours. And I know those that are watching from all over the world, some of you, it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We appreciate you being with us. Please connect with Anthony through Webtalk. From there, you'll get a lot of his contact information. He's somebody to talk to and learn and grow. These things that, from doing credit repair to being a father, he could teach you things. And this conversation is not going to stop. I definitely challenge every one of you, give him a call, message him. I know you're going to learn something from this guy. And it's something that we appreciate. I appreciate you coming on, man. I love you as a brother.
I
And
love you too, bro.
we're going to definitely be in, and we have to get together in person very soon. Good luck with your show tomorrow. He's in
Thank
the
you.
He's in the Rotary. Definitely give him a shout out about that. And then, just connect, guys. Don't be afraid to connect. And wherever you are in the world, we hope you had an awesome time. We hope you have an awesome rest of your day.
Absolutely.